Okay, so what is the trick to trapping though? Because let's just say some of our listeners, we deal in Santa Clarita, all the time, with raccoons, Granada Hills, North LA County, the whole 9 yards, has tons of raccoon activity. So what is truth? What is fact? And what is fiction? Is it the marshmallows? Are the marshmallows the best thing to put in the traps?
They might work, but no. Yeah, the raccoons like shiny stuff, right? So
because I never catch. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I never catch what I mean to catch.
Right.
With what the internet says is the best bait. When I use the marshmallows, I got the skunk. Right. When I was going for the skunk and I used the tuna, I got the raccoon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm never getting what I want to catch.
No, I always tell people to stay off the internet. It's just like when you feel sick and you start looking up your symptoms, and by the time you're done researching it, like you're about to die in a week. Yeah. It's the same thing with researching like the raccoons and what to do and what they carry and all that stuff. But the trick is you have to buy a good cage for raccoons. Possums, skunks, all the other ones, Home Depot, Lowe's cages are great. For raccoons, they're not. They'll bust out of them. They're intense. Like we have a 4x6 tarp that we use to cover skunks when we catch them. Yeah. And the raccoons will pull the entire tarp through like a 1x1 inch square into their trap, like if it's within range. And I don't even know if I could necessarily do that.
That's crazy.
That's like how much force they exert over it. Yeah. So good trap, good strong trap. We use fish as the best thing, and to wrap it in some mesh and tie it down to the back so they can't just reach over the trigger pedal and pull it out.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so that thing's called the trigger pedal.
Yeah.
All right, inside of the trap. Yep. And you say fish is the best.
They like fish. Whenever we get a trap-shy raccoon that doesn't want to go into the traps, we use a piece of salmon. I literally will let it sit in the back of my truck while I drive around all day, get a little extra smelly, wrap it in some mesh, and zip tie it to the back of the trap. And then I disguise the trap between bushes or with whatever's around to make it look less trap-like to get it caught.
Yeah, because that is a good question here. We always hear the terminology trap shy, and I got to be honest with you.
Yep.
Dude, my failure rate of trapping raccoons, because we just usually do the exclusion.
Yeah.
Get them out of there, and we seal them from being able to come back.
Right.
What I have done in the past is I've just bought the disposable radios, put a battery in them,
blast it in there for a little bit,
and just I just throw the radio in there. It makes it so audibly uncomfortable. Yeah. And I'll put a trail cam up, and you'll see the raccoons self-relocate because it's just a horrible living environment. And I'm a pansy, dude. I ain't locking myself with some female raccoon up in an attic. So I ended up making it noisy. And fortunately, most science shows that just like human females will nest and will prepare themselves for childbirth, that female raccoons actually prepare themselves for the birth of their young as well by preparing alternate nesting sites that they just kind of automatically know they have. Yep. So if all of a sudden there's this big noisy radio that they just can't get rid of because I've glued it to a paver stone or something.
Right.
And it's just making their principal living environment just completely uncomfortable. They'll actually grab their young, kind of like a cat grabs their young by the nape of the neck and relocates them. And will actually take that young to one of those alternate nesting sites. So they relocated for me. Now it takes a little bit longer. I end up having to come back a day or two later.
Right.
But I ain't going with no snare pole against some female raccoon, right?
Yeah. Male raccoon pheromones work.
Oh, I've never used that.
Because the males, when there's a female with her pups, right? The male finds them, he's gonna kill all of them. Right, and it's a dominance thing. He's gonna kill all the babies, and we've gone into attics, and there's a male in there with blood and guts all over his face, or a baby raccoon.
What?
I swear, yeah, we have
wow,
the pictures
that is just savage, dude.
Savage. So what he's doing is he's killing off her baby to force her back into heat, so she can have his pups. So it's an ultimate dominance thing, right? So that's what they're doing. So you get the male raccoon pheromones. When there's mom and babies, you just put some of them on some cotton balls. Someone could do this at their own house because you can order it online. It's kind of expensive, but it's okay. Put it on some cotton balls, throw it in your attic, and over a few days she should leave. Sometimes it takes a second application because she might move to the opposite side of the attic.
Yeah, they always just go further into the crawl space if I don't have a loud enough radio.
Right. Yeah, no, it's exactly. Yeah. So that's what they do. They're like, okay, he may be on this side of the attic. I'm going to move to this one. So you might have to throw him in there a second time, but usually that works.
Wait, so you're saying the male raccoon,
yes,
just out of evolutionary dominance, will find the pups of another male, because he would recognize his own, I assume, correct? Okay, so he'll find the pups of another male and just eat them?
Eat them. Devour them.
Dude, that is so crazy. You know a movie director, Werner Herzog?
No.
Okay, so, well, he's the guy that did Gear, The Wrath of God. It was a big movie in the 70s. Werner Herzog, you'll see his face. He's even on The Mandalorian.
Okay.
He's like the bad emperor guy in The Mandalorian that has like whatever the metal the Mandalorian guy's suits was made out of. Anyway.
Right.
He's considered one of the top 10 directors of all time.
I know who he is.
All right, yeah. Anyway, he did this crazy documentary about a movie theater in the middle of the jungle. And apparently you can watch a documentary on the movie. It was just this disaster of a production where he wanted a movie theater that was in the middle of the jungle. So he had the staff build a theater in the middle of this jungle. They had to like bring 2x4s with machetes slashing their way through the jungle so that Werner Herzog could say, okay, we're going to do this. And it took like a year.
Right.
So like the whole staff was in South America in this jungle getting malaria or something like that. Yeah. It was just the worst, most insane production driven by the psychosis of a director who wanted it his way. The worst story that I've ever heard, right? But what's so interesting is he came out with some really deep quotes and really deep observations after having spent all that time in the jungle documenting a lot of the local wildlife. And what you just said about raccoons reminded me of one of his quotes. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, you know, after having observed Mother Nature for this long, I finally found that, like, in the beauty of the jungle, they only agree upon one thing, and that is, like, savage murder.
That's it. Yes. Dude, like, it is. Totally. That's how the animals are, and it shows through all the time. Yeah.
So whenever you get these hippies that are all like, can't we just be, like, all natural? It's like, yeah, sure. Let me bust into my neighbor's house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And savagely eat his children like I'm Kronos, the god of Zeus. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
No wonder the Greek myths were so crazy.
Oh, yeah.
No wonder there was like gods eating other demigods because they saw that in nature every day.
Well, right, it roots back into like the beginning of mankind, right? The savagery was even in us in a ton of stories and stuff. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's super primitive in the way that we used to think. And obviously we've evolved and we have all these great technology and tools. We don't have to be like that. But that was like at the core of
But
our
have
being.
we? Like when my children misbehave, I'm pretty sure I could eat one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Like eating one of them?
Like when your buddy really ticks you off, you're like, I think I might just be able to reach out, you know, and grab your esophagus.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do like a Mortal Kombat on you.
Yeah.